entered an editing room in the age of 18, and I never ever really got out of it yet. So I haven't really been doing anything else, and telling stories from the beginning to now. I think storytelling is something that goes, way back. We're standing on the shoulders of thousands of years of knowledge of how to tell a story. So I think it's something which is in everybody. We know it. We get it from our parents. They get it from their parents, from grandparents, further on. And at the same time, nowadays they write a lot of manuals how to make films. And in one way or another, I don't really believe in them. And that is to say that I never really use them in my work. I always think, that the way that they create these manuals is actually because they have looked at our work. But sometimes they can be very effective, when you, in the very, very last process, go back and have your film and you think about, okay, where's the middle, where's the point of no return, and all these different kinds of words that we know so much about. But these are not the things that I'm going to talk about, because I think one should go with the flow of storytelling. One should really think about themselves as a storyteller. But in order to do so when we do film, we are two things at the same time. When we enter the editing room and we sit in front of the screen and we put two pictures after each other, it becomes to something completely different. Not completely, it becomes to something else. We have black up against white, or we have sunshine up against gray, and rainy weather. It could be many different things. But we, as storytellers, need to be two places at the same time. We need to view our film as a first-time viewer. We need to be in this position all the time, as if I don't know anything about it. I don't know in which direction this is going to take me, and I have never seen it before. I've often been asked, how can you be sitting in an editing room day after day, months after months, looking at the same film again and again, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week? Don't you get bored? Or don't you get just simply fed up that you cannot look at it anymore? It doesn't make any difference for you if you look at it or not. And I say, it's not that way. Because when I enter an editing room, my editing room every day, I am as fresh as a newborn viewer to this film. And of course I'm not. I mean, you can argue and say, well, you're fed up, you have seen all this so many times, so you're not fresh anymore. But my point here is to say, if I go with that understanding and say that I'm not fresh, then I could just leave the editing room right away. So it's a decision. It's a decision that you have. You cannot learn it. It's a skill that you just simply demand on yourself, that you have the possibility of any time looking at the card or the film that you're doing in the working process and say that I'm looking at it as a very, very first time. And you do it because you want to tell a story, and you want to make emotions at the audience. So you have to find out how do they make your emotion come forward. So what it is that or what I do is that while I'm viewing an edit that I've done, I would be first-time viewer and a storyteller at the same time. And the first-time viewer will ask questions. What was that? I didn't understand. Who is he? What is he talking about? Things like that. And in a split second, you will be the storyteller, and you will make a note and say, oh, okay, there's a problem here. I need to solve it. But you have to get out of that storyteller mode very quickly because you have to go back on viewing your film. I was in the editing room just before I came here with a Israeli director, and we've been working very, very hard for a long time on the edit, and we was very close to the ending of the editing. And we had a screening, and after the screening, 1.5 hour film, documentary, after half an hour screening, she said, "Oh, it was so bad screening. That particular person up there was so terrible. I hated him. It was terrible. I couldn't get it out of my system, so it was a terrible film." And I said to her, "What are you talking about?" "Well, the very first time we are presenting this character, he is stupid and dumb in a way that I don't feel for him. I feel attracted to him." And I said, "Well, that's okay, but that's because we moved around with some of the scenes. That's a problem. That's a problem. We need to do something about it." But it was such a terrible screening. I couldn't see all the other scenes, and I got very, very angry at her because I said, "Well, you have to recognize that this was a problem. But if you take all the feelings with you and get so much messed up, you lose the possibility of viewing the rest of the film." I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. The point here is that you have to be able to, within split seconds, switch from being the storyteller and switch to go to the one who's viewing this for the very first time. And you should just, by the day to day, decide by yourself, saying, whatever I'm doing, I can look at this, I can read this text, I can read this film as the first time viewer. Then you really will be good.